Hi, welcome to How to Create a Huge Marketing Budget Out of Thin Air. This is part one of a two-part presentation. So what we're going to look at today is how to solve some of the most common challenges we find with some of the small and medium-sized businesses that we work with. So in particular, pretty much everybody we work with at the end of the day wants to sell more of whatever it is that they sell, whether it be products or services. And in order to do that, they obviously need to have enough leads coming. And that we find that to be one of the most common problems. People either don't have enough leads or they don't have enough of the right quality leads. And obviously, you can't turn leads into prospects or more importantly, prospects into customers if you don't have any leads in the first place. And a lot of the times we find that people who are struggling with lead generation are stopped when it comes to budget, because as soon as we talk about lead generation, what comes up is people think, well, I need to do paid search advertising or SEO or social media or some of the really popular marketing tactics online, or even offline advertising for that matter, and they immediately get stopped by their limited budget. Maybe they have almost no budget or they have a few $1,000s, but it's not quite enough to really do the job. And the reason why we think there's a problem here is because there's limited thinking. And what I mean by limited thinking is that most people think I have to do this marketing campaign, this advertising campaign of one sort or another, some tactic that they want to try, and they immediately think about money. That their budget has to equal money and they have to spend money to get these campaigns and things to work. And that's not actually true. What we're going to talk about today is finding the hidden value within your business that you can leverage to use for marketing and advertising, because there's a lot of areas in your business or resources in your business that we don't often think of as part of our quote unquote marketing budget, because again, we're stuck in the limited thinking of cash equals marketing budget. So what we're going to do today is take a look at some of the areas in which you might have hidden value in your business that you can leverage to generate some leads and then ultimately more sales. So let's take a look first at the value hidden in professional services. So if you offer some sort of professional services, maybe like you're a web designer or you're a copywriter or you do SEO or any kind of online services, those things are incredibly valuable. How much do you charge for a website, for example? If you charge $5,000 for a website, you have something that's worth $5,000 and you can create as many of them as you want. Same thing goes for legal services, right? Lawyers often charge by the hour. Sometimes they do contingent fee, but basically they have knowledge and services that they deliver. Could be contracts for business situations, things of that nature. All of those services have lots and lots of value, as we know, because they charge a lot of money for them. Same thing goes with doctors. You go in for even just a regular checkup could cost several $100s, especially if you're not covered by insurance, or some medical services that maybe aren't covered by insurance, maybe chiropractic or therapy, things of that nature. Sometimes they're covered, sometimes they're not. Regardless, the value of those, regardless of who's paying for them, is quite valuable. And so there's a lot of value in these services that you deliver, and essentially they don't, in a lot of cases, they don't cost anything other than your time, which of course is valuable in and of itself. But you can leverage these services to market your business, and you may already start getting some ideas. Well, you can give some of these things away for free to in trade, things of that nature. We'll get to how you can leverage the value hidden in your business in part two of this series. But it's important to just recognize you have some very valuable services and things that you can deliver if you offer professional services. So moving on to another category, things like ongoing services and things that maybe aren't as expensive as, say, a website or legal services, something like software. Maybe you sell software that only costs $25 a month or $50 a month. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of value in there. The thing about something like software, if it's, let's say, software as a service, let's say like a customer relationship management software or accounting software like QuickBooks or something like that, where the customer has to pay every month basically for as long as they use the service, you start to think about the lifetime value of that software or that service. And so it's not just that one $25, $50 a month fee. So there could be a lot more value in there besides what that monthly fee is. Someone like a hairstylist that offers, haircuts and hair services and colorings and things like that. Again, each individual service may be only $50 or $100 or $25 or something like that, but these are things people need over time. People need to get their hair cut and colored basically for years and years or forever, and so there's a lot of value even in lower cost services, but that have an ongoing nature to them, and so you want to start to pay attention to that value as well. Another category beyond services is things like products. So let's say you sold headphones or headsets for computers or something like that. It doesn't matter. Whatever the physical product is you sell, what we're going to talk about here applies. So the important point in finding the hidden value when you're thinking about your products is the difference between the perceived value and what it actually costs you to buy if you're buying these things wholesale, or produce them if you're manufacturing them. So there's a little bit of an equation here. So let's say a headset, people know if they go to the computer store, they go to Amazon, they might pay $50 for a decent headset, but you only pay $25 to get them from China or wherever you buy them from, or maybe you're the manufacturer and it costs you $25 to have them manufactured and delivered to your office ready to ship. So the difference between the perceived value, or maybe the retail price, would be the hidden value that's in there, and often we don't think about that. And so when you have physical products, if you're going to use them as incentives or in some other ways that we'll look at to leverage in your marketing budget and your marketing tactics, the equation is the higher the perceived value and the lower your cost. In other words, the larger that gap, the more hidden value there is and the more leverage you have to use those resources as part of your marketing budget. Another thing is your time and experience, right? This kind of goes back to some of the professional services and the service things, but sometimes just giving your time. What is an hour worth of your time and your experience and your expertise? Even if you're not delivering a full-blown official service, if you will, there's still a lot of value potentially in your time and experience to help people that don't know how to do whatever it is that you know how to do. And so that's another area to look for hidden value. So I want to do a quick summary. Your budget goes beyond cash on hand. Think beyond money when you're trying to build your marketing tactics and your marketing budget. And you want to spend some time looking for the hidden value in your business and thinking about what resources you have, again, beyond money, and how we might be able to leverage that. So start asking yourself questions like, how much do you charge for your service? What's that retail price for the product or the service that you offer? That's ultimately what the customer will see as the value. And when you're talking about products, you want to calculate the gap between the perceived value and the actual cost, and the larger that gap, the more value you have, or the more hidden value you have. And don't forget to account for lifetime value and residual benefits. So you can see very quickly by just shifting our thinking around and getting outside of the money box, we've been able to find lots of value hidden right in your business that you can leverage in your marketing. And so in part two, we're going to teach you some very specific ways on how to leverage that newfound budget for maximum lead generation. Because again, ultimately, we need to generate some leads so we can eventually get some paying clients or customers. I have this caution sign up here because I've used a lot of the techniques we're going to go over in part two, and there's the right ways to do them and wrong ways to do them. There's a way you can really mess this up and give away too much value and not get enough back in return. So we're going to give you some very specific examples of how to take the newfound budget and actually leverage them in very specific ways to get the most bang for your buck and the most leads for your efforts. Thanks for participating today, and we'll see you soon on part two.